Apologize. I've kind of lost my voice this weekend, so bear with me as we go through this lesson. But this is lesson 1-4, class activity 1-4. We're learning some new vocabulary to start us off with. So go ahead and repeat after me. Division, divisor, dividend, and quotient. All of these are going to be our new vocabulary words for division. So we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to slide on down here. And we're going to skip the problems for now to look at this example in the box. They've shown us some multiplication equations where we don't know the number of groups, but we do know the group size, which means that we know one of our factors, but the other factor is unknown. Now the good news is, even though we don't know one of our factors, we do know the product, or the total, or the largest number in that. So whenever we have problems like that, or story problems, word problems, where we know the big total, but we're missing one of our factors, probably the best way for us to solve it is going to be with a division equation. And division is kind of to multiplication like subtraction is to addition. Multiplication we can solve by doing repeated additions. If I have so many groups of 5, let's pretend that it's 3 groups of 5, then I can solve it by saying 5 plus 5 plus 5 3 times. Division works exactly the opposite. You would subtract that group size however many times to figure out your final answer. So if you started with a total of 15, you would subtract 5. 15 minus 5 gets you down to 10, minus 5 more gets you down to 5, and minus 5 more gets you down to 0. And so after repeated subtraction 3 times, you got down to 0. And what you'll notice is kind of a mirror effect. You can just flip your equations here, and your first number, whoops, and then your middle number lines up, and then we have our 3's on the outside. And the same thing goes for down below. Whenever we're missing the first factor, what you can do is you can flip that equation. Now when we flip it, we flip from multiplication to division, and then we went from 10 divided by 5 equals our answer. A couple things to keep in mind here. We're going to be right here. The number that you divide into is called the dividend. Okay, that's going to be your largest number. The number that you divide by is the divisor. So that's, let's say you know how many groups you're dividing it into, or you know how many are in each group. That would be your divisor. And then the answer to a division problem is going to be called the quotient. Dividend and divisor are not necessarily quite as important, but quotient will be a big deal because we frequently talk about the product, which is the answer to a multiplication equation. If I ever ask you for the quotient, I'm asking you for the answer to a division equation. Okay? Go ahead and get out your math boards, and we are going to do some practice here with some equal shares drawings. So we've practiced with equal groups drawings previously, and we touched on equal shares a little bit, but really equal shares drawings are the perfect math drawing or tool for when we're doing a division problem. So we're going to practice that on these problems here. Numero tres. At a bake sale, Louisa bought a lemon square for 35 cents. If she paid using only nickels, how many nickels did she use? Well, if the total that she spent is 35 cents, I'll put my total on top for my equal shares drawing. I always box my total. She paid using nickels. Now, I know that nickels are 5 cents. So that would be groups of 5. I just need to figure out how many groups of 5 does it take. So let's go ahead and figure that out. We can count by 5s to do this. So 5, 10, And I hope you're drawing this on your math boards with me. 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35. I know I get to stop because I got to my total on top. And now I would count how many groups did that take. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I know that it took 7 groups. I know my answer is 7 nickels. Now what's going to be important for us to notice today is we need to see how to write an equation to solve the problem. Since today is all about division, it's going to be kind of a big deal for us to be able to write a division equation. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and write this as, sorry, I got to figure out my right tool here for you. There we go. Starting with your total number, okay? And that is called our dividend, okay? My dividend is 35. And I took that 35 cents and I divided it or shared it between groups of 5 to get my answer for how many groups of 5 or how many nickels she used. We found that 35 divided by 5 was 7 nickels. Let's practice this again for numero quattro. Mr. Sue bought a sheet of 20 stamps. There were 5 stamps in each row. How many rows of stamps were there? Go ahead and reread that problem in your brain, and I'm going to read along with you in my brain. Mr. Sue bought a sheet of 20 stamps. There were 5 stamps in each row. How many rows of stamps were there? Okay, so I know the total number of stamps on this sheet, and so I'm just going to draw like a sheet of paper here. And I'm going to put kind of in the middle of it a big old 20. Because that tells me how many total stamps Mr. Sue bought. And then I also saw that there was 5 in each row, correct? So let's go ahead and put a row of 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark that on your boards for me, please. I'm actually teaching you a new trick here called a fast array. This is going to be like your new best friend. These are so much fun for going and solving problems that have arrays. Now we don't know how many rows there are yet. We only know that there were 5 in each row. So I put a circle loop here to show that that's our unknown. That's what we don't know yet. However, because I know the total number of stamps, and I know there's 5 in each row, I can go ahead and count by those 5s and see how many rows it will take to get to 20. So I'm going to start here on that first one, and I'm going to count by 5s to show how many are in each row. I'm going to say 5, 10, 15, 20. And I found how many rows of stamps were there? There were 4 rows of stamps. Very good. Now the part that I skipped on us was our equation. So you're going to want, let me get this in here. Did that work? Somehow I'm supposed to be able to write this equation for you guys. 20 divided by, hmm, I think I'll just write it for you like normal. 20, you need that to be skinnier. Sorry, friends. Let's try this one more time. 20 was the total number of stamps that we bought. They were divided into rows of 5, and that equaled 4 rows of stamps we found with our green count bys. We're going to hop on down here to Puzzle P, and I apologize if I'm going fast today, friends. I'm not doing a lot of extra talking, so if you need to pause and rewatch anything, please feel free to. But we wanted to look here at Puzzled Penguin's um, little problem today, okay? He said, "Dear math students, today I found the unknown number in this division equation using a related multiplication. Is my calculation correct? If not, please correct my work and tell me what I did wrong. And how do you know my answer is wrong? Your friend, Puzzled Penguin." You're going to want to see, did he flip his equation correctly? Now remember, to solve your divisions, start with your small number and count by that number to get up to your big number. So you would think of your count bys 5, 10, 15, and you would be counting on your fingers by all of these all the way up until 40. And then you would think, okay, he got 9. And you're thinking, is it 9 or should it be something else? Okay, this is going to be something that you are going to be doing on Classroom today. So I will have your response to Puzzled Penguin on Classroom via a Flipgrid. So Google Classroom Flipgrid. I'm so excited to finally do one of these for math. We'll come back to that after this lesson. Now down here, I wanted to make sure that we have a chance practicing flipping these, okay? 20 divided by 5 is equal to blank. And then they're showing it flipped. So it's the same thing as blank times 5 equals 20. I'm going to come back and do this so that you can kind of see my face a little bit because I'm going to show you. All right, my friends. So what I wanted to show you was that when we are doing these division problems, I would always start with the small number. And so they have it circled. It's the 5 in this example. So when I'm saying 20 divided by 5, I'm going to go ahead and count by 5s up to 20. And I just use my finger count bys for this, and it makes my life so much easier. So I say 5, 10, 15, 20. How many groups of 5 did it take to get to 20? 4. So that's what I'm going to plug in here. 20 divided by groups of 5 equals 4. And then when that equation gets flipped, it's going to be a 4 again, but let's go ahead and check. Count by 5s and see how many groups of 5 it takes to get to 20. 5, 10, 15, 20. Boom shakalaka, it is 4 again. They're flipping this even more for problem 6, and they're saying, hey, we know that with that commutative property, my factors can be flipped. And so instead of dividing by the groups of 5 now, 5 and 4 are my factors. Let me go ahead and mark that for you really quickly so you see what I'm talking about. Check that out. 4 and 5 are my factors. 4 times 5 equals 20. That means that if they flip it, when I divide by 4, my answer should be 5. Those go together. They're a paired set now. It's part of a fact family. So when I'm looking at this, when they say 20 divided by 4, it should be 5. Let's go ahead and check. You might not know how to count by your 4s yet, right? So instead of using your fingers, this time pay attention to the screen, and I'm going to write my 4s count bys. 4, I'll just count 4 more from there. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is next. 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, and I'm just going to keep going from here, okay? 16 and 20. Now when I count these, I have Sorry, friends, I'm trying to change the color for you so you can see this a little better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 count bys, which means my answer here is going to be 5, just like we predicted, right? Your job is going to be to practice this for problems 9, 10, and 11. It's going to go in on your Google Slides along with your Puzzled Penguin practice today. So let me go ahead and practice 7 and 8 with you so that you get a little bit more practice in with me. And just know that these 3 problems you're going to do on your own for classroom work today, okay? So let's look. 10 divided by 5. Because 5 is my group size or my number of groups, I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10. It took 2 groups of 5 to get to 10, so 10 divided by 5 equals 2. When I flip that equation and I find my related multiplication equation, I know that 2 times 5 equals 10. And look, my numbers flipped just like a mirror. I went from 2 to 5 to 10, just like that. Therefore, when I took 10 divided by 2, I can check again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2 times 5 gives me 10, and so 10 divided by 2 equals 5. And then I get to think, how many groups of 2 gives me 10? We just found out that was 5. My next one is 15 divided by 5. Again, I get to count by 5s up to 15. 5, 10, 15. When I take 15 and I split it into groups of 5, it would take 3 groups of 5 to get to 15. And that means, friends, I carry this number across when that equation gets flipped. So 3 groups of 5 gave me 15. If I split it into groups of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, or you could have been thinking, I know that fact, family. I know that 3 goes with 5 to get to 15. And so yes, 5 groups of 3 gives me 15. Again, you're going to do these practice problems along with that answer to Puzzled Penguin for your assignment today, okay? Good luck, my friends.